Welcome. What's up, everyone? How's everyone doing? Welcome to the latest episode of Terrible Towel Tuesday. I am your host, SimFBallCritic, live from the Steel Basement. How's everyone doing? Hope everyone had a lovely weekend. Listen, I know I get all types of viewers, so I don't know who does and who doesn't celebrate Resurrection Day. So I'm going to say it two ways. Happy Resurrection Day for those of you who celebrate that. Happy Easter for those of you that celebrate that. And for those of you that don't necessarily follow those things, happy Monday. Well, Tuesday. But I haven't talked to you guys since the past weekend, so hello. All right, so I had plans to just open the phone queue up tonight, but of course, as luck would have it, Blog Talk Radio is not cooperating. So therefore, I have no ability to take your phone calls tonight. So it's just going to be me talking. I will let you guys know I don't have a whole lot to talk about, which is the reason why I was going to rely heavily on the phone calls. This will probably be a quick, short show tonight. This is a lull period. You guys know that. So I'll find a few things to talk about. I'm going to basically talk about the pre-draft visits. Is that telling a story? What that might mean for the Pittsburgh Steelers? Can we take anything from it? I mean, we go through this exercise every year. And I'll just give a couple, little light thoughts again about reflecting on Justin Fields and Russell Wilson. And then that'll be it. So I expect this show to be about 30 minutes, if that. But let's say hello to the early commenters before we get started. And of course, I will respond to anything that you guys are referring to or talking about in the chat. Joshua Shields, Crazy Ron Gaming, Cody, Daredevil, Leon Harris Jr., what's up, Mark Cunningham, Dietrich Bundick, Why Dig in the building, No 412, James Tresvant. Who else is up in here? Hello, the Egyptian Queen. Hello, Miss Lady. Appreciate you tuning in. Hello. Always a special hello to our lovely ladies of Steeler Nation. Guys, make sure you lay out the red carpet. Say hello to our lovely ladies. Hello again, Egyptian Queen. And another one of our favorite lovely ladies who was on the show last week. As a matter of fact, if you didn't see it, make sure you go catch it. Lanisha. Hello, Lanisha. Welcome back. Like always, I appreciate you so much. Thank you for coming by. Who else? The infamous Tim. Mr. Fleetwood. Who else we got up in here? Jay Waller, my brother Kenyon in the building. Robert Westover, Wave Dave, Brandon Cheney, Steelers Cards. And we'll stop right at Al Johnson. Hello. So, all right, like I said, man, listen, don't have really much to talk about tonight, but, I'm going to always give you some type of content. So let me get my list up here, courtesy of the good people of Steelers Depot. Let me find it. They have a pre-draft visit tracker. So let me find that. Give me a second. And I'm going to kind of go through not so much the names am I paying attention to, but I'm paying attention to the positions. And like I said, we do this each and every year. It's just a quick little exercise for us, for our minds to kind of wander and, what do we think? I do want to get you guys' opinions again on the signing of Cordell Patterson. I know we talked about it last week during the Steel table discussion. But I will say it again here. I think it was a good move. I think clearly it was a direct move to, compensate for the new kickoff rules, which is still kind of crazy to me how they apply. But, apparently this will lean more into returners. They're going to get way more opportunities. And also, kind of how the blocking, I'm interested in seeing what type of schemes some teams will deploy out there. You know what I mean? Like, because now I think they're 5 yards from each other and they can't start running until the guy catches the ball. So it's going to be more like straight up blocking, maybe some swim moves and rips and things like that. It's more like a rush, to the ball carrier. So I'm curious to see what type of blocking schemes teams might throw out there. What can you whip up? Because these guys now, returners are going to be more so like running backs. It's almost like a run play, so to speak, because of the distance. And I think a guy like Cordell Patterson will fare well with that. So I'm not upset with the signing. I don't think the official numbers have come out, but the Steelers, especially at this point, they always have a great way. Omar Khan, the tip of the hat to him. He always has a great way of finessing that cap space. So I'm not even tripping at any type of contracts that are signed at this point, because the Steelers appear to be in good position with the cap. So let me see what you guys have to say about that first. How do y'all feel about the Cordell Patterson signing? Let me see if anybody comments on that. I don't see any comments, so I'll wait a few more, 30, 40 seconds here to see if any of you guys have a comment about it. Do you hate it? Do you love it? Do you think it was a good move considering the new rules of the kickoff? And again, I can't illustrate what it is as far as the rules. I heard it a few times, but I couldn't sit here and tell you exactly how it works. So for those of you that don't know, I'm sure you can find that information on NFL.com or what have you, as far as all of the details. But from you guys who are familiar with it, how do you feel about it? James Tresvant says it's a nice chess move. I think so. Y Diggy says, I think it was a great signing. Field position will be big for our offense. Yep, absolutely. And even though Cordero, he's 33, this guy in a specialist role, he still was doing good things in Atlanta. And he can run the football. Like I said, the one thing that kind of makes it interesting for me is what you might be able to do with him. Imagine them putting all three of those backs out there. Like, yeah, do you want Cordell Patterson carrying the ball a lot? Maybe not, but imagine a package where it's Cordell Patterson, Najee Harris, and Jaylen Warren. Like, you talking about, and by the way, you know what else? Here's another wrinkle I would throw in there, led by Justin Fields. You don't know what's coming at you. I'm going to paint the scenario for you. I told you guys, we seem to always find something to talk about as I interact with you guys. Let me see if anybody else said anything before I paint that scenario. Yeah, Mark Cunningham just says he can be a third running back. Yeah, let me paint this scenario for you. Goal line situation. A 2nd and 2. And the reason why I say second, because on second down, you could do anything. 2nd and goal, right? 2 yards to goal, 2nd and 1. And imagine some type of diamond lineup, where you got Justin Fields under center, Najee Harris directly behind him, Jaylen Warren, Cordell Patterson, almost like a diamond shape, triangle shape, if you will. Just imagine what you could do with that. It's just, my mind goes crazy. Listen, I'm not an offensive coordinator. I'm just a guy that just has an idea. Just imagine what type of stress you could put on a defense with 3 legit running backs in the backfield. And not only just running backs, Cordell Patterson also can catch the ball out of the backfield. So can Najee. So can Jaylen Warren. And oh, by the way, Justin Fields can run that thing. Imagine running some type of read option or zone read action with that lineup. 3 backs and Justin Fields. Dog, it could get crazy. It could get crazy. Yeah, full house backfield. Could get crazy. I'm just saying. Don't get your hopes up, people. I'm just saying, imagine them having some type of package like that. So that's all I got on that, man. That's all I got on that. So that's how I feel, man. I don't think it was a bad signing at all. I do definitely think, like James said, chess move. Shout outs to the Steelers, man, for, trying to counteract. So let's talk about these pre-draft visits a little bit, man. And then after that, I'll just give my opinion again about the Russell and Justin Fields thing, kind of tell you guys what I would prefer to see. I don't know if I went into that last week. I may have, but in case I didn't, I'll say it again here. So as of right now, the Steelers These are the guys who have who actually are scheduled or have come in already for a pre-draft visit. And I think there's one extra guy, but I'll get to him in a moment. Again, you may not pay attention so much to the names because not everybody was going to know these names. You know, if you're like me, I vaguely know some of the college players, and I kind of just, you know, during this process is when I kind of look at the pre-draft visits and I go look at some of these guys. I also would look at the positions of need and I kind of look and see who are the top 5 guys or so. And that's kind of how I do it. You know, I always tell y'all I'm open and honest. I don't have all the time in the world. And actually, I might even condense it a little more this year. My schedule has changed quite a bit, which is the reason why you guys are seeing Terrible Towel Tuesday in the interim at 9 p.m. Because, you know, my son is in AAU now for basketball, my 10-year-old son. And it's going to probably be this way until about mid-June. You know, the season ends in mid-June, but his practices are on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 7 o'clock to 8:30. So that's why I'm presenting to you guys at 9 p.m. But just to give you a peek behind the curtain, my schedule has gotten out of control, in control, but just a lot. You know, even work, I got a whole lot more stuff that I'm focusing on at my job, which is why they pay you the medium bucks, right? I ain't gonna say the big bucks, the medium bucks. You know, I embrace it, but I'm busy. So I say all that to say, I just don't have the same time that I once had to try to watch all of these people. So I'm going to be honest. This year, I'm going to condense it a little bit. I'm going to look at some of these pre-draft visits, and really I'm going to focus on the positions like wide receiver. I will take a look at a few of the D tackles because I noticed that in a couple of these corners. So I might just limit my list in the interim right now to my homework right now for the next week or two is to review these pre-draft visits. And then I'll go look at guys like the center position. You know, I'll peek at Frazier. I'll peek at what's that other kid? Not JPJ. It's the other guy that's somebody help me. Is it Barton? Graham Barton or something like that? I'm hearing his name. See, I'm not familiar with these centers, so I think I'm going to take a look at the top 3 centers because I think the Steelers definitely may still address that position early. And then other than that, man, the pre-draft visits because I just don't have the time. If y'all really want to know more about some of these prospects and you're not familiar with them, your good brother Kenyon is in the chat. I can promise you that he's all on top of that. So y'all can ask him more of that information. But anyway, and did I get that name right? Graham Barton, that's his name. Okay, yeah, the Duke kid. All right, so here are the guys that have come in, and I'm going to save the more intriguing one for last. So here's a sidebar as well. Reported known pro day dinners. 3 Alabama kids. Terrion Arnold, cornerback. Kool-Aid McKinstry. Is that how you say his name? McKinstry. But Kool-Aid, that's a funny name. I remember hearing his name a few times during the season, but that is hilarious. Kool-Aid McKinstry. And edge rusher Dallas Turner. All 3 Alabama kids, and apparently it's saying that it was noted by Ike Taylor that Mike Tomlin attended, but did not mention anyone else. So basically, he had these dinners with these 3 kids from Alabama. Now, other than that, scheduled pre-draft visits. Right now, I think the total is at 13. Running back Dylan Johnson from Washington. The date is unknown as of now, according to Steelers Depot. And it's the only running back on this list so far. So pay attention to that. And that's what I pay attention to, guys, is the position more so than the player, because I might not know the player. But outside of that, I always feel like the pre-draft visits tell a story about the Steelers. It's either tells guys that they might be looking to grab some of those early or later round, mainly later round guys, because a lot of times they draft their first round pick from the pro day. But anything beyond first, a lot of times it comes from this list, and also they circle back to these lists when guys become available as free agents, whether that is a contract expiration or a release, right? So that's why I always say it tells a story. They have brought in so far 4 wide receivers. They are Ricky Pearsall from Florida. Wide receiver Malachi Corley from Western Kentucky. Xavier Legette from South Carolina. And also, this is a kid I'm familiar with, and I'm sure Kenyon can tell you everything about this guy. You know, he's from SC. Taj Washington. Now, Taj Washington, in case you guys don't know, he's a little on the thinner side, but this dude is a heck of a route runner. You know, I could probably, and Kenyon might can fill me in more, but I could see him, because of his size and his skill, he might, could play a slot position in the NFL. I don't know if he's going to be an outside guy, but, I've seen him do a multitude of things at USC, but this is a shifty type of dude, and he's a good route runner. So, if the Steelers are looking for that type of capability, keep your eyes on that. Now, again, 4 wide receivers. Pay attention to that. Pay attention to that, because we all expect the Steelers to draft a wide receiver, and this class is deep. So the fact that the wide receiver class is deep, it only makes sense that certain guys that you bring in for the visit, these might be the guys on your radar. That would just be my opinion. And here's something else that's interesting. 3 offensive tackles, 4 offensive linemen, because the one kid from Pittsburgh, Matt, is it Goncalves? I don't know how you pronounce it. It could be Goncalves. I don't know. It's spelled Goncalves. I don't know. Names are pronounced differently, but he's listed as an offensive lineman. But there's 3 tackles. There's Trevor Glover from Georgia State. It's interesting. Smaller school. Also, this kid's name is Talise. Is it Fuaga? I don't know. Fuaga. I don't know. He's from Oregon State. But here's an interesting one. This is one that the people were expecting the Steelers to look at, and now he's going to be coming in for a pre-draft visit. Amarius Mims from Georgia. A lot of people have talked about bringing him in and pairing him with Broderick Jones. That's what a lot of people were saying. I think Kenyon might have even mentioned that. They brought him in for a pre-draft visit. Or he will be coming for a pre-draft visit. Date is unknown. But then after that, there's 3 defensive linemen, 2 D tackles, and there's 1 guy listed as a D lineman. But D tackle, which is a kid I'm familiar with. Y'all know I'm an FSU fan. Braden Fisk. Also, Christian Boyd from Northern Iowa. And Darius Robinson from Missouri. All right. And last but not least, 2 cornerbacks. MJ Devonshire from Pittsburgh and Andrew Phillips from Kentucky. Now, I also want to remind you again, the Steelers had a pro day dinner with 2 cornerbacks, again, from Alabama. So that would be a total of 4 cornerbacks that have sat and met with the Steelers, or by this time next week or so, they will have sat and met with the Steelers. Now, here's one last name I got to throw out there. Well, actually, hold on. Before I do that, there's another guy that I saw that just popped up. They said D lineman Mason Smith is in Pittsburgh. He's at LSU. Y'all, a lot of you guys that watch football probably have seen him before. Number 0, I believe, for LSU. He's also presumed to visit with the Steelers. But then there was another kid. Hold on, let me find it. There was another linebacker I saw. Is it Kalik or Kaliki? But Kalik Hudson. They're saying that there's a pre-draft visit as well with him. And there you go. Now, what's interesting, well, actually, this isn't a pre-draft visit. I'm sorry. This is they're hosting a visit. So this is a guy that's already in the NFL. So again, not familiar with him, but I'll just give you guys a little piece of the information. They said this guy is a McKeesport, PA native hailing from Michigan. Hudson was a 5th-round pick of the Commanders in 2020. He's appeared in 58 games for a team over the past 4 seasons, recording 108 tackles and 1 sack. Most of the time has come on special teams, but he has 12 defensive starts, including 8 in 2023. And he finished the year with 74 tackles and picked up his first career sack. Okay, so I guess he's more of a depth type of guy, because I don't know much about him. Maybe some of you guys do. And I even watched Commander football sometimes, and the name doesn't really sound familiar to me, so my bad. I thought he was a pre-draft visit, and that's what I get for reading fast, but it says Steelers will host a visit with him, so maybe he finds himself on the roster. I'm sure they're still trying to add more depth as they approach the draft, and at some point they're going to have a 90-man roster. Well, okay, here's the last pre-draft visit that I want to talk about that's interesting. They have scheduled a visit with Michael Penix Jr. How do you guys feel about that? Michael Penix Jr. is scheduled to have a pre-draft visit with the Pittsburgh Steelers. This one is interesting. This is interesting for a multitude of reasons. Let me approach it this way. Actually, let me ask some of you guys in the chat. I want to get your opinion before I start talking. What round do you guys think Michael Penix Jr. is drafted? If you had to take a guess at it, what round do you think Penix Jr. is drafted? Steeler card says they're not going to draft him. It's smoke. Could be. I mean, it's very interesting as to why you bring him in. But again, I told you guys, the Steelers like to do that, man. They like to sometimes bring guys in that they might not even get the draft now, but they know when that second come around, when these guys are either released or become free agents, and if they want to sign these guys, they're familiar with them. So Y Diggy says he goes in the first. Wave Dave says the third. Alex Dingy says first. Al Johnson says late second round. Eric McDuffie is saying third. Mark Cunningham says first. QBs get overdrafted. That is a shot. A fact, bro, my brother. Antoine Hill says second. Joshua Shields says third, probably. Kenyon, what you think? Tell the people what you think. Where do you think Michael Penix Jr. is drafted? And here's why it's interesting, folks. Yeah, I knew you would. So Kenyon's going to hold that until the next Steel Table, which will be coming pretty soon, by the way. Here's what's interesting about it. The Steelers have 2 third-round picks, right? If Michael Penix is sitting there in the third round, I wouldn't be surprised if they drafted him. Let me explain to you why. They have 2 third-round picks. It all will depend on who's on the board. So let's just assume what most of you guys are saying. We don't know where these guys are going. Like Mark said, a lot of times these guys are overdrafted. So he could definitely go in the first or second. But let's assume he falls, quote unquote, the same way Malik Willis did. And he's sitting there in the third round. You have 2 thirds. Now listen, I'm not saying that Michael Penix Jr. is the answer or anything like that. But could Michael Penix Jr. be a nice security blanket to draft, right? Draft in the third round if you think his talent is at that point where you think you can make him something. He automatically will sit. So peep this scenario. I'm just giving you a scenario. I don't know what's going to happen. Just giving you a scenario. You know this guy's going to sit because you have Russell Wilson and Justin Fields who will more than likely get playing time before him. So you could do what you really wanted to do or hoped you could have done with Kenny Pickett with Michael Penix. Follow me here. You draft this guy in the third round where it doesn't cost you that much. You allow him to sit. And at the end of the season, if you do not want to give a bigger contract to Russell Wilson, you can let him walk. If you do not choose or unable to get a extension done with Justin Fields, you could even let him walk. And guess what you would have then? You would have a quarterback with upside under contract for 4 years. Or 3 more years following the end of the 2024 season. And that would be the only way that I could see it going. If the Steelers feel like, look, we're probably not going to be able to get long-term deals done with Russell Wilson. We don't want to put in that investment. We don't know if we're going to be able to get a long-term deal done with Justin Fields. But even if we do, we might want to have another guy that has talent that can grow that we can have under contract for 4 years. I'm just saying from a business standpoint, and again, guys, I'm not sitting here. I'm not endorsing Michael Penix Jr., because I'm not siding one way or the other. I think that kid is very talented. I think he has some things he needs to work on. I think if I'm not mistaken, isn't he a little bit small, like as far as weight size, or does he have injury history or something like that? The kid can ball, no question. But I'm just saying, if the Steelers are thinking about that, that is where it makes sense to me, is if this kid falls to the third round and you have 2 third-round picks in your pocket, you could grab a guy that has upside and you have nothing to worry about in terms of bringing in another guy, for 4 years. So that's how I view that. Will it happen? I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm paying attention to the fact that they brought him in for a pre-draft visit. And I know some of you guys are saying it's smoke and mirrors. Well, maybe. But, I don't. This is what I will say. I have no way of confirming this, but I will say this. I don't think these NFL teams, well, let's just say the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't think the Pittsburgh Steelers play that type of game. I don't think they are a smoke and mirrors type of team where they're going to waste their time, go as far as, let's bring this guy in and let's throw a smoke screen up. I don't. That's just me personally. I just don't think the Steelers move like that. And the reason why I say that is because they don't seem to be that type of organization, but also the Steelers, in most of our tenure of watching these Steelers, they've done exactly what they said they were going to do. They've shown you exactly what they wanted to do. When it's certain players or certain positions, they didn't hide it at all. They didn't hide Najee. They didn't even hide the fact that they was going to draft Kenny. Like, all signs pointed to Kenny Pickett if he was there. All signs pointed to a quarterback. You see what I'm saying? Like, the Steelers, to me, have never done the throw up a smoke screen or smoke and mirrors type of thing. I just can't really recall a situation. I could be wrong, but I can't really recall a situation where they didn't put their cards right on the table. Lay them right down. Bam. Blackjack. Hit my cards. Bam. What you got? Got a royal flush. Bam. What you got? You know what I'm saying? Like, they've always shown us the cards. So, yeah, that's what I got. That's what I got. So I'm just trying to paint a scenario as to if that were to happen, at what point would I not be upset of them drafting a Michael Penix Jr.? And the reason why I say upset, man, is because if they do it in the first or second round, I'm not really going to understand that. I think you put too much stock into acquiring Russell Wilson and trading for Justin Fields to turn around and then draft a quarterback early. Because now what you're saying is I don't know who's going to start, and we got a three-way competition. I mean, that sounds good from a team standpoint for us fans. May the best man win. But from a business standpoint, even though they got Russell for the cheap as well as Justin Fields, I just don't feel like you make those type of moves to turn around and draft a guy that you're expecting to compete and be a quarterback, like a starter. You know what I mean? I don't know. And or do they think that much of this class to where they draft the future guy early now? I don't know. I don't know if they're doing that. I don't know if the mindset of the Steelers right now is to do that. But I don't know. And if that was the case, would they bring in more than just Penix? They even brought Kenny in. They even brought Kenny Pickett in for a visit. Remember that? And they drafted him. So would Penix be the only quarterback that they were to bring in, or it was noted that they talked to or had dinner with, if their plans was to draft a QB early in the 2024 draft? I don't think so. I think Penix is a guy that could possibly be there at a spot that they're willing to take a quarterback who's talented. Again, I think the sweet spot is the third round. And why do I say that? Is because a lot of people are saying he might fall, he might not go early, and they have that additional third round pick. And that's why it all makes sense to me that if it happens, if you connect all of the dots, I think if he's sitting there in the third round at one of those picks, it could possibly happen. I don't know if it will. But that's the only way it would make sense to me. And that as a fan, I'd be like, oh, okay. All right. But that's all I got for y'all good folks. Told you this would be a quick, short one. So let's read some chats real quick. I'll give you guys a few minutes and then we'll be up out of here. What y'all got? Love Angel says, who knows? They may not be sold on Fields. That's you said that's maybe one reason. I think that's what you tried to write. Maybe one reason why they brought in Penix, and then Fields may not want to stay longer. And if they don't offer him the right money, he may want to go. Yeah. And again, listen, all of these scenarios could be possible. Could be possible. Like I said, if they drafted this dude in the third round or something like that, I think that's exactly why they do it. Is because then they cover themselves for a potential guy that will sit absolutely the first season unless them two other quarterbacks get hurt. But presumably you would have a guy that would be able to sit. He's under contract for 4 years with the 5th-year option as well. And he's the guy that you might allow to take over the reins after you've seen what Russell does, after you may or may not get a deal done with Fields. You see what I mean? And boom. So you're right. All of that could be the reason why. So you're absolutely right, Love Angel. Appreciate the comment. What else y'all got? Leon Harris Jr. says, are the rumors true about Prescott maybe coming to the Steelers in 2025? Well, Leon, that question is almost rhetorical, I guess, because how can any of us confirm if the rumor's true? I mean, if it's a rumor, that's exactly what it is. So, we can't necessarily say, is the rumor true? Because if it's a rumor, it's just a rumor, right? But I see what you're saying. Who knows? I hadn't heard much about that, man. I try not to always listen to the talking heads. At least sometimes, there's sometimes some of these guys have solid information, but you kind of have to take it all with a grain of salt until the rumor picks up more traction. You know what I mean? So, and I'll say this, there were rumors out there about Justin Fields and Russell Wilson, but those rumors were easy. It was easier to connect those dots where they could be true. Whereas the Dak Prescott thing, I don't know if I would believe that right away. I mean, is that even a guy that, I don't know. Because the Steelers would absolutely have to pay Dak big money. And I don't know. I don't know about that one. Let's see. Why Diggy says, but if he's there at 20, do the Steelers take him or trade down? Who we talking about? Diggy? He says, I heard they did work at the pro day. My best bet is that Penix isn't falling past Vegas at 13. Okay, so you talk about Penix. Yeah, see, Diggy, it's kind of like what I said, man. If he's sitting there at 20 and they take him, wow. That would shock me. But that would tell us a lot. But also, I don't know if I really want them to trade down. It just depends on how the board is falling. Because one thing the Steelers need to do, they got to get a center. I understand Nate Herbert can play on which one? Yeah, Nate. Nate is the big boy. Nate Herbert has played center. James Daniels has played center. I've seen a lot of you guys say that about James Daniels, but let me ask y'all a question. A lot of y'all keep saying James Daniels can play, but who's going to play right guards? So are we saying that the Steelers are going to draft a right guard instead of drafting a center? I mean, that could be, but I'm saying I see some people, maybe not some of you guys, but I've seen some people continue to say that James Daniels will be the center. But I'm like, okay, but so then what is the contingency plan for right guard? So I'm not willing to just say that. I think what you do, the best bet is if you can get one of those three to maybe potentially 4 centers, get one of them and call it a day, I mean, I don't think you got Nate Herbert being the bona fide starter there. I don't know, but yeah, I don't know about the whole James Daniels situation. Antoine Hill says, y'all think Baker is the long-term answer for Tampa after 1 year? Well, Baker got a deal already. I don't remember how much it was for. What Baker got? Was it a 3-year deal, guys? 3 or 4? But yeah, Baker got a contract. And you know what? I'm happy for Baker Mayfield. The reason why I say I'm happy for him is because of this. Was I a fan of Baker Mayfield? Not necessarily. Did I hate Baker Mayfield? Not necessarily. Other than the fact that he played for Cleveland. But Baker Mayfield to me is like a Ryan Tannehill, right? Where everybody threw him in the trash. They're kicking him down the road. Oh, he's a bum. Oh, he's a bust and blah, blah, blah. And look what he did last year, man. Played great at Tampa, and the boy has got himself a nice long-term contract this late in his career. And the interesting thing is, I know people wanted to throw Kenny out with the bathwater, but Kenny Pickett might have ended up being one of them type of dudes too. Could very well have ended up being, he didn't do well in Pittsburgh, let's say after 3-4 years, go somewhere else for a year or two, go somewhere else and end up landing somewhere. So all I'm saying is, I know when it doesn't work out immediately, fans generally like to say bust, and that ain't just Steeler Nation. But sometimes, man, some of these quarterbacks, it takes a while for them to end up being a solid NFL quarterback. They might not be great, but sometimes it takes these guys a while to be a solid or winning, capable quarterback. And Baker you got to say, he's grown into that, man. So shout outs to Baker. Let's see. What else y'all got? Give me a couple more. Okay, there it is. Baker, 3 years, $100 million, 115 with incentives. Shout outs to Baker. At this point in his career, he getting, and I think a good chunk of that was guaranteed, if I'm not mistaken. I want to say like 50 or so of that was guaranteed. Shout outs to Baker Mayfield, man. Shout outs, man. You said what? I'm happy for Baker, but dude fell off at the, you said at time after on a great season. That's, I think you're saying he fell off after one great season. Yeah, I mean, but I'm just saying, man, it just, and we all guilty of it. It's just, I I think the Mahomes effect has clouded a lot of people's vision. And the reason why I say Mahomes, because Mahomes came and hit the ground running. And maybe even the Joe Burrow effect, right? Joe Burrow hit the ground kind of running as well. But look at guys like Josh Allen. Josh Allen wasn't elite first year or two, right? And then all of a sudden, bam. It's just, look at how long it's taken even a Lamar Jackson to get to this point where you legit now kind of have to respect his running and passing. First few years, nobody was worried about him passing the ball. I'm just saying, it's most quarterbacks come in the league and it takes a second. Even my man, Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert is nice, right? But is Justin Herbert currently elite? No, but I'm cool with that. I'm cool with allowing him to continue to get better and better. Look who's actually playing really good now this past season. Trevor Lawrence. I mean, I don't think Trevor Lawrence was lighting it up the first few seasons. And this dude was a heck of a prospect. That's all I'm saying, man. I just think, again, we're all guilty of it. We're all guilty of it. Like, oh, this dude ain't working. It's because we want that instant gratification, man. And also, again, still a nation. Unlike other teams, 18 seasons of Ben Roethlisberger. 18 seasons of the same QB. So anybody that comes to play quarterback after Ben Roethlisberger, y'all gonna judge him to the high heavens, man. I'm just saying. It's natural. It's a natural thing when you've seen greatness at levels. Because you know who else we do that to? Y'all want me to tell you who else? I'm gonna get close to the mic. Y'all, pause. Y'all know who else we do that to? Anybody who plays safety for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Anybody who plays safety for the Pittsburgh Steelers, you're comparing them to Troy Polamalu. Oh, there's another position. Can I remind you? Anybody who plays wide receiver for the Pittsburgh Steelers, again, wide receiver, you're comparing them to Antonio Brown. Big Hurt. Yeah, we do it with linebacker a little bit too. Because let TJ Watt not be TJ Watt. Oh, y'all be screaming because of Debo and Lamar Woodley. I'm just saying, man. I'm just trying to be truthful with my family. That's what we do. We've seen greatness, so it's. Here's another one. I'm going to give you one last one. Speaking of LB, we have compared every single inside linebacker to Ryan Shazier. When we all know Ryan Shazier was a freak of nature. That speed, that coverage ability, being a film junkie, I'm just saying. Now, should we accept mediocre? No, I'm just speaking the reality. That's what we do. So, unfortunately, because the Steelers have been so great, yeah, I'm saying it, and that's not being a homer. They've been great as an organization. and most of us have seen greatness from them. Most of us have at least experienced at least one championship. And that even goes to the younger viewers. Even our little Miss Lady Susie. What she said, she was 14? Yeah, so even she didn't see a win. Never mind. But with the exception of Susie, most of us have seen at least the Steelers be great at least one time. And they actually were great in 2010 as well. That defense was amazing. They just didn't win it all. Aaron Rodgers just, it was his moment. But we've at least seen one instance of them being great. And because of that, do y'all remember that we had the Killer Bees? Greatness. Oh, yeah. Le'Veon. I can't forget Le'Veon Bell. Every running back now, he ain't Le'Veon. I'm just saying. That's what we do. But I'll leave it alone for now. But, it's hard. It is hard, man, because we're used to winning. We're used to winning to where winning seasons don't mean nothing to us as a fan base. Getting to the playoff, like we are used to championships. We want championship or bust, and that's just what it is. So I've accepted that as a fan, and I understand that. And with me understanding that rationale that even I have, how I used to be about this, it allows me to be more, all right, step back. Take a step back. Look at reality. But that's all I got. I have nothing else, man. I didn't know I was gonna go on that little run right there, but yeah, oh yeah, Rajon, Ben, Troy, Shazier, Heath Miller, oh, absolutely. Oh yeah, we can't leave out Heath. We done had some greats, man. We really have had some greats. We have. And it is hard to accept, man, the next guy. But sometimes you just got to realize the Pittsburgh Steelers have had generational players. Generational. Ben Roethlisberger was special. And shout outs to, man, and I didn't say this when I saw it because this was a few months back, but shout outs to Ed Reed, right? Because Ed Reed, on his interview on The Pivot, where, Fred Taylor and them was talking about, yeah, you played against the greatest, Tom and Peyton. And Ed Reed said, hey, you can't forget that guy that they had in Pittsburgh. Whether some people want to acknowledge it or not, Ben was special. Ben was different. His arm talent, and just who he was, like, in his prime, being able to evade guys and tough as nails, that arm talent, that pump fake. Ben was special. It's hard to replace that, man. Generational. Troy Polamalu, generational talent. One of the best, if not arguably the best safety ever. Some people would say that. Some would. I got Ed Reed. Ed Reed's up there too for me. Them two guys. And I love the fact that Ed Reed was a free safety and Troy was a strong. So I don't compare them one for one. Some people do, but you can't. But them two, it's hard pressed to find two safeties better than that in terms of what they did for their team. But these are generational talent. AB. AB was one of the most talented receivers you ever seen as a package. I'm talking about quickness, route running, hands, speed when he wanted to have it, punt returner. Come on, man. These are generational talents. And honorable mention, I might even say Le'Veon. Yeah, you can't forget Ronnie Lott. Absolutely can you. He was a safety. Oh, yeah. Dawkins, too. Dawkins was that boy. And honestly, I can't, real quick, I can't, as much as I love Sean Taylor, I can't put him in that category. Unfortunately, just because of the duration. But yeah, what we saw out of him in that short amount of time, Sean Taylor was about to be amazing. Sean Taylor would have more than likely been a Hall of Famer. But Yeah, I might even throw Le'Veon as honorable mention. I might. Le'Veon was special, bro. In terms of that size and his quick, like the way the jukes, like I never really seen, me personally, I never really seen too many running backs at his size be that nimble as far as shifty. Jerome Bettis was a big boy with nimble feet, but Le'Veon was different. Le'Veon was different in terms of how he moved. The jukes, I mean, I would love to just see him fake people out. And his receiving ability. Special, man. Oh, yeah, and the patience. My God. He special. We ain't seen too many guys like that. And again, I'm not being a homer. I'm just explaining to you guys how great the Steelers have had some greats. So, all right, man. I didn't really mean to go on that run like that, but we pushed it to 51 minutes. Somehow and when I get to talking to y'all, I can talk. And I love it. Thank y'all. I wish the phone queue was working tonight because I really wanted to hear from y'all. Hopefully it will be working next week. But let me get out of here, man. Get myself ready for tomorrow's commute. Get that out the way. And yeah. I appreciate everybody tuning in. Of course, man, before y'all go, y'all know I got to remind y'all, and this is free. These are free. Why y'all can't do that? These are free. These are free. You know, you don't have to donate. I appreciate when you do, but these, again, free. Hitting the like button, subscribing to the channel, and turning on your notifications. Free. If you choose to donate, thank you. You've missed that window as far as on the show, but if you prefer to do it outside of YouTube, Cash App, PayPal, that information is in the description. But outside of that, man, I appreciate y'all. Really do. I really, really do. Thank y'all for hanging with me, man, in this off period of the season. And hopefully we have more to get into next week. Like always, man, y'all stay safe. Stay blessed. Thank you for tuning in. And hey, I shall catch you in the next one. Peace.